why don't you guys introduce yourselves and you come from? Let's start with Wendy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Wendy Nelson. I am the VP of Sales at Net Billing. And at Net Billing, we provide, and somebody's bringing my own, sorry. We provide payment gateway services, merchant services, call center services, and yeah, that's us.
Okay, Jeffrey, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Jeffrey Adams. I'm VP of Business Development with PC Bro. I oversee a lot of the operational teams, support, risk, sales. Been with the company for a long time, almost 20 years, and pretty much everything I know is this industry. So.
Okay, Anthony.
Hi, my name is Anthony Nocella from Cosmo Payments, head of product. Yeah, basically, I think we're the only on the panel here. Everyone does a little bit of other stuff, but happy to answer questions.
Okay. And Chris?
Anthony, are you in your car?
I think he is.
Can't hear me.
Yeah, I'm in my car.
Okay, well, drive safe wherever you're going.
Car and, I had to come.
Hello to everybody in the room. My name is Chris. Been in the business quite a long time. Been in the billing vertical for about 10 years now. Work for Pays, and what we do is provide direct merchant accounts and merchant services in Europe and the United States.
Okay. And Raja?
My name is Raja. I own Chargeback Help. We help merchants prevent and represent chargebacks.
Okay. All right. And so let's start with, we talked about a little bit at the beginning, kind of the big thing that's going on. How has COVID been affecting your businesses and your customers? And whoever wants to start.
I would say that it's been cautiously okay for our clients by and large. I haven't heard really anything negative, but as one of my very wise clients said on a different panel a couple of months ago at the beginning of this crisis, be prepared for the way it's going to go down as well. Enjoy it while it's up, but don't forget it's probably going to go back down again. But by and large, I'm finding that most of our clients, all of our clients, are happy with the current with their numbers.
Yeah, I mean, payments as a whole has decreased. The number of transactions in the last 6 months have decreased substantially as a whole. But obviously, as you guys understand, most of that is in retail, your card swipe type business, where the economies have shifted from traditional brick and mortar retail transactions to more e-commerce. As these restaurants, these typically in-person payments, they're evaluating their businesses to learn how can they become an e-commerce merchant. I think that's a shift that's taking place right now, and it's likely to continue in years to come as businesses really evaluate their vulnerabilities and the risks that they take by just accepting in-person payments. But as Chris said, it's still very early to tell what its long-term impact is on this industry. It's cautiously optimistic right now.
Okay. Yeah. Wendy, Anthony, or Raja, you guys got anything to add?
From my point of view, I know that since the virus started, there have been a lot more disputes flowing through the issuing banks. So I think merchants are seeing more chargebacks. And if they haven't seen more chargebacks, it's because the banks have been working from high ticket to low ticket. So I think you're going to see a little chargeback wave in the next 6 weeks, maybe, is my guess.
I mean, for us, we're seeing like the same thing for the e-commerce side, very large increase. We don't do a whole lot in card present, so I'm sure that industry is getting impacted pretty hard. But for our merchants in the adult space and high risk, we're not seeing it having a negative impact on their business, more so a positive impact.
Anthony, you got anything?
sprinkling something in the room? Anybody? It sounds like someone's sprinkling something.
It's that.
Who is it? It's real quiet in my
I
office.
see the mic symbol go from Anthony, so it might be something with his connection in his car.
Hey, I wanted to just, I
sorry.
hope this doesn't take us in a completely
Payment,
different
obviously, we've seen
direction.
a huge influx of new registrations.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't want to say desperation, but a lot more demand, quick payouts and efficiency is need now, based on everything that's happening in the world. I just want to say I apologize. I'm having some serious technical difficulties. I can't hear anyone. I truly apologize. I'm going to bow out. The rest of the panel is good for you guys. Apologies.
Okay, no worries. All right, go ahead.
Build on what he mentioned though with payouts. I mean, there's definitely a renewed emphasis on cash flows, especially for e-commerce merchants, and getting their cash as quickly as possible is definitely an impact here. Some businesses are obviously better suited to float money longer, but I think we're all learning that cash is king, and you got expenses and you have outgoing responsibilities and liabilities. Then getting that cash as quickly as possible is definitely has been a concern for our e-commerce merchants for sure.
And Chris, you had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to, and not to take the room into a completely different direction, but somebody had mentioned, Wirecard, but not anything specific about it. People should know that Wirecard is open and operating and doing business as usual right now. We have clients there who still send a portion of their volume there. They're still getting paid. Everything from their perspective is the same. Now, that doesn't mean I encourage everybody to put 100% of your volume there, but I'm just saying for the time being, everything seems fine, and whoever is managing the front desk over there is doing okay. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but the lights are on, the doors are open. Just want people to know that. Even though I'm sure, some of us in this room have probably been scrambling to find redundancy for Wirecard users. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. They're still around.
Are they boarding new business?
Pardon me?
Are they boarding new business?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they're very highly regulated. Obviously, it's concerning, the accusations and the potential issues, but they're highly regulated, highly insured.
Absolutely.
And
I'm not giving anybody advice to go use them, but I'm just saying they are operating. Somebody, at the top there is taking care of things. So I don't think you need to lose your head completely over that situation, but just to be cautious.
I'm glad you said that, because we're getting a lot of inquiries too about it. So like you said, business as usual. It seems everything is flowing. I think payouts were affected for 1 or 2 days, and then it just resumed almost within those 1 or 2 days, and then everybody was getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wirecard payments is actually under a separate legal entity versus Wirecard Bank. I don't know if that provides much comfort, but it is important to note that it is a separate corporate entity and somewhat shielded from some of the other issues as well.
So has the current situation made you guys kind of readdress how you're doing anything, or maybe trying to think outside the box to do other means to keep business going or to get more business?
It's always we're always feeling incentivized to do. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Incentivized.
Say it.
Incentivized.
Incentivized. What's wrong with you?
I hate words.
Motivated. You're motivated.
There we go.
Thank you. That's easier. we must always be motivated for sure. Has it brought up any new ideas to motivate ourselves? Maybe a little. I don't know. Just I tend to get my ideas from just listening to you guys out on the boards and the topics that are being discussed on any of the different business boards that we frequent, and that gives me ideas on how to find potential new clients. I don't know about you, Wendy.
I mean, for us, really, it's just helping those merchants that were storefronted that never had an e-commerce presence that now have had to kind of shift over and take payments online or take payments in a different manner to, stay in business. So for us, it's just kind of going after those businesses a little bit more and a little bit more aggressively because they have the need to get set up online opposed to doing it in person.
Yeah, because that's interesting to me because with what's going on, I know there's less money going through because of fears and stuff, but it seems like you guys would be having more people trying to do processing online and payments online. So is there been an increase in registrations and customers, but a decrease in funds moving?
And for us, an increase in merchant inquiries, new merchants coming to us. But as far as spending, are you referring to like the end user spending or
just overall cash flow and transactions that are being because the same thing is happening. I know on a lot of a similar example because I'm more on the cam side of things. So I know there's been a lot of increase in cam registrations, but overall money and stuff has been lesser payments going in through members. So I'm just wondering if it's kind of a similar thing with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, the economy shifted, at least here in the United States. Retail payments, point of sale payments are drastically reduced, and people are spending the money online, whether it's through applications like Grubhub or DoorDash. Those are obviously becoming more and more popular now. Those types of shifts are taking place, and it's important to find those opportunities, right? You have to understand where people are spending their money and how consumer behavior is changing because of this. Mm-hmm. As long as you're cognizant of that and obviously developing product and or positioning yourself to support that, and you should reap some benefits here, at least in the short term.
Okay. And then everybody that's in the chat room, the viewers, if you guys keep coming with questions, we'll get to those in a little bit too. So now the current situation aside, one of the topics for this is some of the challenges that you guys may have had and solutions you're looking for, notwithstanding with the current COVID situation. What were some of the issues that you may have been having prior to this in the industry? And what are some of the solutions that you guys are looking at to address those challenges?
I would say increased regulation of the last few years has been common, whether it's card brands, whether it's governing bodies like the EU, you have PSD2 you had to comply with, GDPR, the card brands are tightening their chargeback rules. Banks have become more risk adverse in regards to our industry as a whole. Makes banking more challenging, makes onboarding more challenging. These are all things you have to be aware of and making sure you're, I don't say you're playing the game, but you also have to invest in those processes and these guidelines to comply so that you can continue operating business the way you want to operate.
Raja, you got anything on that?
No, I agree with that. All of it. The chargeback stuff is fascinating. That's a moving target. There are some big Visa changes coming in the next 10 days or so with the chargeback process. We've been working very hard lately on making sure that we're integrated and getting compliant with all the new Visa stuff. So we'll see what impact that has on how chargebacks are processed in the future.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I think it's like what Raj says. I think that those new regs are meant to decrease the number of chargebacks, or is it or make them easier to dispute, or both? What do you say, Raj?
I think that the process for I think the MasterCard and Visa's end goal is transparency. They want consumers to have complete transparency in all their transactions, and they're trying to create mechanisms, make it very easy for a consumer to see exactly what they paid for and how they can stop paying for it.
Right. So for those of you who aren't aware, what we're talking about is the new Visa MasterCard regs. I think it's just Visa for now.
Just Visa for now.
Yeah, which will force merchants to put the word trial or recurring, I believe, in their DBA.
We're having different conversations. I'm talking about something completely different.
What are you talking about?
In August, Visa is going to make issuing banks request transaction details from a merchant before they can issue a chargeback.
Right.
That has to do with the situation with refunds, crediting refunds as well, doesn't it?
You're talking about the refund over auth. That's different. That's different as well. So all this talk about VM dominate this conversation, but there's been all this buzz about VMPI for the last few years with merchants, and Visa has rebranded it to Order Insight, and they're launching that product in 2 weeks, 10 days or something. I don't know, maybe tomorrow. It's supposed to be soon.
But the purpose of Order Insight and VMPI should decrease chargebacks. That's the ultimate goal. Like Roger said, the idea is to increase disclosure, make sure consumers are more aware, and potentially decrease friendly fraud. That's the ultimate end goal.
In an ideal scenario, right, I think the card schemes are aware that friendly fraud chargebacks are over 50% of the current chargeback volume. And the idea is that if you can tell a consumer exactly what they were paying for and how they use that product, consumers on their own will decide not to file a chargeback.
Yeah.
And automating that is what Visa is aiming to do. Take away the human element, reduce the errors, and make it efficient and informative as well, as Roger pointed out. So again, ultimate goal, decrease chargebacks, increase consumer confidence, hopefully increase spending down the road. That's what Visa's goal here is.
I've seen some of the stuff that they're doing. They're going to make it so in a year or two from now, every single consumer can click on a transaction in their online platform and see the transaction details in real time. Down to, like, imagine you go have dinner at a restaurant, you get home from the restaurant and you wonder why you spent $200. Well, you can click on the transaction and you'll actually see a receipt from the restaurant on what you ordered.
Which is good. It sounds like it can be frightening for some people, but it's also, I feel like it's something like that. Increasing disclosure, as I mentioned, it also increases consumer confidence, right? Mm-hmm. And if you do that, then you create this, especially this generation that's growing up right now. All they know is e-commerce. All they know is the internet. I feel like these types of things are going to be beneficial to the industry as a whole. Where you get a consumer who's not afraid to make a purchase on a random website. Ultimately, I think it benefits everybody.
Well, what are and again, I'm kind of new with this whole topic, but what are some of the more common chargebacks that people run into, and what are some of the best ways for them to kind of counteract or avoid those?
So if you ask our business, most merchants will tell you that most of their chargebacks come through as fraud. But when they go and look at these customers, they can see that they've logged in. They can see that they're using the product. So it's not really fraud. Mm-hmm. It's just that currently the issuing bank has no insight into the transaction. So when a customer calls them and says, "Hey, I didn't use this product," their bank has no idea what to do. So now what Visa's done, they built a mechanism that allows an issuing bank with the click of a button to see the transaction details and then hopefully tell their customer that that transaction is not eligible for a refund. And Visa's internal testing with big merchants, I'm talking like Amazon and Apple, they say, Amazon said that they've stopped 70% of friendly fraud with this product. It's a big number.
Yeah.
I don't know if in the adult world we're going to see those kinds of lifts. I mean, the things that we're talking to Visa about are funny from an adult point of view, because we're asking questions like, hey, can we send through the URL out in the open? Right? Like when someone clicks on a transaction in our world, I mean, they may have bought lonely grannies or something much worse than that. So do we want them, are we allowed to show the customer exactly what they bought?
Right.
Because don't most of the payment processing companies will come through as a different name on the client's charge, correct?
Correct.
It's not going to say like CC bill or whatever. It's usually something else.
Oh, it'll say CC bill asterisk something. So in this particular case, CC bill will know exactly what product they bought, and CC bill can send Visa directly the product details, and down to even the location when it was purchased, even the username and password if they want.
Oh, okay.
So it's cool stuff. Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Any other issues and charge?
Yeah, person's kind of getting into the trial rules, and that's kind of a trend that has happened over the years as well. MasterCard put in rules and written guidelines around trials for tangibles, and then Visa followed suit with basically all trials, whether digital or tangible, will require a lot more disclosure. And that's just a trend that's taken place over the years. That it's designed to obviously weed out bad players in the space, people who are not doing their part in disclosing what people are purchasing and not making it easy to cancel memberships. Obviously duping people into thinking they're buying a one-time purchase, those types of things. So that's what Chris is kind of getting into. So I think that'll have a big impact. Depending on how it's enforced, I don't understand how they're going to enforce it. Right now, I think it's going to be more of an acquiring bank enforcement. They're going to have to really decide how tough they want to get. I don't think Visa enforcing this too toughly, in my opinion, at least.
I agree.
So from what I understand, Visa calculates the chargebacks on descriptors from left to right. I think next year Visa is going to have a massive problem with a merchant named Trial, and they're going to wonder why this Trial merchant has a crazy number of chargebacks and the transactions.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's intended for most merchants. You know, I think it's if you look at what the rules are designed for, it's really intended for a specific use that is probably not tied to the adult industry. Nor is it tied to small merchants, like Roger said. This is for larger merchants who offer a lot of trials, or if their entire business model is trial. You know, software providers. Trials have become more and more prevalent in the mainstream space as a means to acquire a new customer. I think that's where Visa was really trying to target that.
My prediction is that Visa is going to do the exact same thing as MasterCard and make it for tangible goods only.
Right.
I think this is a continuation of the Nutra witch hunt.
Yeah,
that's sort of been going on lately.
Okay. All right. You had mentioned earlier about like regulations and things like that, other challenges. What are some positives that you see could be coming in the near future, or whether it's external or things that you guys are working on individually with your companies?
I think positive is the Visa solution for the chargebacks, what Raja was referring to, because we're sending information immediately before the chargeback is issued. So, I mean, to me, that's a positive thing. Some people might see this as being something that, oh, I don't want this, but I think it's positive.
Anything else,
Nobody likes to change, right? It just means more work.
For sure.
I don't think we lost Raj.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I would say that I touched on this earlier. I mean, this type of issue is that's happening. Obviously, favors the e-commerce industry, favors contactless payments, and as long as we all are aware of consumer behavior and keeping tabs on consumer demand, these are all positives for us. You have to obviously evolve, and if we're cognizant of what consumers are wanting and keeping ahead of that, then that obviously gives us tools for our merchants as well to engage their consumers and to make payments easier. Again, you hear the word frictionless payments a lot, contactless payments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not focusing on that as an opportunity, then you're probably going to be behind the ball a little bit. Especially in the next year or two, as this thing really morphs into something we don't really understand yet.
Yeah, look, I mean, we all should be, everybody on this panel hopefully is doing okay these days. We know that in-person payments are down 50% or something, or maybe even higher.
Yeah.
E-commerce is up 50%.
Yeah.
So if everybody here is working online and you're not up, then you're doing something wrong, in my opinion. Maybe want to look at your business because it should be up. We've seen, like I said, across the board, and I think you're only going to see e-commerce increase, especially in entertainment, as people are forced to spend their hard-earned money elsewhere. People need to be entertained, just part of being human nature, and we're going to see more and more entertainment spending move to online.
Yeah, people are going to get more and more accustomed to it as well. So it's probably ushering in a whole new, generation of online consumers.
I think if I was in the content business, I would be very happy.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Does that raise any security issues though too, with more people putting their information out there? Is that an issue as well people should look into?
Yeah, I mean, fraud obviously is going to be the byproduct, right? It's fraudsters are always going to be targeting the weakest link, and as more and more businesses are engaging in their first e-commerce endeavor, as they are now, obviously merchants are going to be targets for their data. The type of fraud that we used to see back in the day, the affiliate fraud, the transactional type fraud, that's probably less of a problem now. More so account takeover fraud, I think, is more popular. People's identities getting stolen. These are things that I think are really more important now, and people are being more exposed. It's more valuable for the fraudster to steal someone's identity and then commit an account takeover to where they have access to cash, other resources as well, as opposed to getting $15 on a fraudulent transaction, right? So, I mean, I think that's where the shift that will occur in terms of fraud. It obviously trickles down to our merchants and to us as well eventually. But I think that's what you're going to see in the immediate future, is just more of the fraudsters looking at the vulnerabilities.
I think you're going to see more and more targets on small to mid merchants. I think large merchants are locking down their systems fairly well, and they're massive targets. But as e-commerce continues to grow, small merchants now are decent sized targets. And so we've seen a couple of breaches on our client side from merchants that we never would have expected it, right? Guys who are doing a few $1 million a year in revenue that you wouldn't think were our targets, but they got hacked.
Yeah. The emergence of
not just that, it's the places you're giving your personal information to. The big social media platforms and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised to see introduce rules and regulations that say, hey, if you're going to be collecting X amount of personal information, credit card information, address, phone numbers, you're going to have to live up to certain secure expectations to have the right to hold on to that information. I mean, it seems like every day we hear of somebody cracked, Bernie Sanders Twitter or whatever. I mean, it's happening almost every day. You hear that now.
Mm-hmm.
It started with Sony years ago when their entire database was compromised, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, go in and change your password and whatnot.
And that creates an issue. It brought up, the frictionless payments, contactless payments. That creates a real problem for that type of payment method. It becomes easier if all your data is out there to be stolen. It just becomes that much easier for a skilled fraudster to use your data and create a profile on Venmo, for example, or take over your Venmo account or your PayPal account and then just siphon funds away from you and to themselves.
Right.
And those are real challenges. Those are going to be real problems, I think, in the foreseeable future.
So if there's anybody out there who plays those games on Facebook, if you want to know what kind of flower you are or whatever, don't play the games, because every time you do, you're providing a word or something that somebody can use to figure out one of your passwords, because we all are creatures of habit and we do continually use the same 4 or 5 words. And those guys figure it out. And that's why you shouldn't be playing those silly games.
Yeah, I'm off of Facebook just as one of the many reasons I don't even post anything anymore. Just use it to talk with people. So.
Oh, I can't believe the people who I think are really smart, who are my friends, who are playing these games.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know someone was asking about 3DS earlier. I think that was Amelia, maybe. PSD2 was a directive out of Europe that requires issuers to comply with SCA, a security and authentication platform like 3DS. That obviously is very effective, but it's also very intrusive as well. And I know a lot of merchants kind of shy away from adopting, especially in our space. The high risk industry, you generally do not get the benefits of, especially with Visa, you don't get the benefits of authenticating transactions. And so,
right, MCC 5967 is exempt from.
Exactly. For Visa, not MasterCard. MasterCard, you get the benefit. Visa, you don't. So it obviously becomes a disincentivized tool at that point. But an entity like the EU, for example, they put this into law, where the issuers have to enforce some form of authentication. And frankly, again, I think that as we typically see, US and EU are eventually going to merge, or they're going to get closer to, having similar policies and directives. So I think we'll see that in the United States as well, and we'll see more authentication tools built in.
And frictionless.
And at the same time, frictionless as well, yeah. So whether it's I don't know if you guys use Apple, but I have Apple Pay in my phone, and then it's only unlocked by my face, which is very convenient, but it's also very effective, obviously, as well, at least from my understanding. So, that's a great example of added authentication and also increased convenience as well, where you can find the best of both worlds. Fortunately, they find some solutions with e-commerce as well to tackle the same challenges. Right now, I think 3DS is a little flawed from that perspective.
Okay. I thought I saw a question earlier too about I'm kind of a little familiar with this area of the world, but payment processing companies. I know there's a lot of adult stuff going on in the Philippines, Thailand, China, Japan. It's growing. Is there? Do any of you guys work with companies over there, or are there other companies that you would recommend to work with Asian markets?
You mean for people trying to process Asian traffic?
Yeah. Because there was a question earlier from.
Or are they located in Asia?
Yeah, I thought that was more of. I saw the question. And my question back to them would be: are they looking for customers in Asia, or are they an Asian merchant looking to acquire U.S. consumers or European consumers?
Yeah, he's their answer now, so it's.
Just answer both.
He said
For me, the answer is no. I don't have any Asian banks that I work with. So on that side, it's no. And on the inverse, what was the inverse, Raj?
If they're targeting Asian consumers.
If they're targeting Asian consumers, I mean, it's not something I really have to deal with. It's not a common question.
In Asia, Wirecard, I guess, is Wirecard Singapore still boarding business?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Wirecard Singapore is still boarding business.
Payvision still offers Union Pay.
Yeah, we can do Union Pay. We can do Alipay and WeChat as well for China.
Yeah, that market is just somewhat different. China specifically, I guess that's probably the starting point. China's a lot different than India versus a lot of other areas. And China is highly integrated into WePay and Alipay as well. And those are closed loop integrated systems that you just can't throw onto your payment page. There's definitely I think an understanding that Union Pay is certainly attractive for U.S. merchants. I know PayPal has been gunning for Union Pay for a long time, and I know big other providers as well are trying to integrate with Union Pay as we speak.
We're going to see Chief Pioneer in China, right? MasterCard, Visa, and American Express.
Yeah.
All just received their licenses to start issuing in China.
Yep.
Let's see if they're able to compete with Union Pay.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, China's just too big to ignore, and they're more advanced than we are in terms of e-commerce and integrated payments with mobile. You just can't ignore China for too much longer.
For sure. Okay. Is there any other specific topics? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Raj.
Said Andy just clarified his question, and it's a payout question. And we lost that guy. So I don't know if we can answer it.
Payout methods, yeah.
Okay.
It's difficult. So going back to regulations, payouts used to be, I don't want to say an easy thing, but payouts used to be less scrutinized. And now, every method of payout, whether it's a wire, an ACH, a check, everything gets scrutinized. And know your customer and anti-money laundering laws are very stiff in Europe, and they're becoming stiffer in the United States, following suit in Asia as well. So it just becomes more and more difficult to easily offer, a suite of payment products like that without having strong underwriting and compliance in place as well.
Okay. All right. Any other specific issues you guys want to address as far as any services or things that you guys are doing or working on that your merchants should be aware of?
Nothing new.
Like I said, for us, we're trying to integrate all the new Visa chargeback processes and order insight and all the new Visa alerts. So stay tuned for more stuff from us as we get through beta.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Okay.
We see chargeback numbers go down.
And alert numbers go up.
Yeah, exactly. But gives you a little more freedom to operate.
So where do you see kind of the industry going with the areas that you guys handle? Is there things that you're looking forward to happening or that you want to see happen?
I'll start. For me, I think it's fairly obvious. If we can reduce chargebacks and have them turn into alerts, that's not terrible for us.
Yeah, chargeback seems to be always the thing that comes up with any kind of processing.
Yeah, I mean, chargebacks are very costly. Costly in a number of areas. Not just the sheer dollar amount, loss, but you also have to have processes in place to manage ratios and the chargebacks themselves. They're costly for everybody, so it's benefit to the consumers, benefits to the merchants, and benefits to the payment service providers. Everybody should benefit from something like that. I think Visa is going to make money off of it. I'm sure they're going to find a way to make their money on it. So I think everybody will be happy with it.
Visa's getting greedy. They're making money when issuers charge back, and now they're making the alerts.
Yeah. Visa's not stupid. Now, I mentioned this. Chris touched on this earlier. We're all in a period of uncertainty. This is unprecedented. It's this confusion breeds uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds fear. And hopefully we learn that we have the resources, the capabilities, and consumers drive that, right? As we're seeing, consumers are shifting to the economy as we see it. I hope that continues. We're obviously in a position to benefit from that. All of us are. All of us here, obviously, are working from home, looks like, for the most part, and probably fully capable of doing our jobs remotely. And hopefully that as the economy shifts, that we can support that, and we all become benefactors of that change as well. So I'm excited for that.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of all I had for questions right now. So you guys have some topics, or if there's any questions you want to address from chat. Or I was also thinking too, if you guys want to, one thing, I guess if I was a merchant, if I was looking to, start using a payment processing service, what would your guys' sales pitch be, or why would I want to come work, use your company?
Oh, you don't want the speed network. No.
Especially not from Chris. He just put us to sleep. So.
No, I just would say to people, use the resources you have available to you, and the resources that are out there for you business people and potential merchants to make smart decisions for the product that you sell. Set up good billing practices with redundancy and protect yourself, and consider the fact that if this one goes down for 48 hours, you can switch over to this one that you have at the ready. Throw volume over here, and then throw a certain percentage of your volume over there. Diversify a little bit. Just good billing practices, and any one of us can give you some advice on that kind of thing. That's really our bread and butter, because once we get a new client, it's not over. We continue to maintain those clients forever. We look for anomalies in their billing practices on a day-to-day basis, and when the CFO notices something out of order, he typically tells me, hey, something's going on with this account, check them out. What's happening? So, inform yourself and go to YNOT every day and read the news. And there's always good writers there. There's always good content to be had. But above all, ask questions and stay on top of things. That's really the best advice I could give, generally speaking.
Yeah. That's very well said.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. Well, we got about 5 minutes left. Is there any other topics you guys would like to address or think that are important to be brought up?
Yeah, Amelia is asking about marketplaces. I think this is probably another. We probably missed on this one, but there's a clear trend towards the emergence of marketplaces. Obviously, Amazon is number one, right? But in our industry, there's a ton of competition brewing right now to overtake OnlyFans. And there's a lot of value for models and for content creators in this industry for these marketplaces. There's clearly a ton of value there. Otherwise, they wouldn't be as big. So it's really important to understand what a marketplace is, what services they provide, what value they add to you as a content creator, and really understand if it's in your best interest to leverage a marketplace like that, or do something yourself, as we were talking about earlier, which is becoming more and more uncommon. So these marketplaces have a lot of resources, have a lot of tools that they make things a lot easier for startups to launch content and get their followers to convert. But they're not for everybody either. So I think it's important to understand what a marketplace is and what they offer you.
Okay. Let's see. I don't see too much else on.
Well, it says she's looking for content. So she's looking to operate the platform marketplace herself. Which all of us, I'm sure, can entertain.
Yeah.
Assist you with.
Yeah, I mean, really understanding what a marketplace is, what services are you going to provide. Generally, what makes a marketplace is you control the money. You control the consumer experience from start to finish. You control the money, and you are the merchant of record. You're basically using your platform to sell other people's, in this case, content or products. It is becoming more and more regulated. Visa has defined guidelines for marketplaces to board and to register. And they're not unlike payment facilitators. So they're very, very rigid and becoming more and more difficult for marketplaces to emerge. I know a lot of marketplaces as they are now came about because they had a good business plan and a bank took on the risk. That's going to become more and more difficult as the years move forward here. That banks want to know where is that money going? Who are their customers? Is there money laundering? Is there illegal activity taking place on the platform? And what are you doing to control it? And those are all things you really need to consider. Okay. And yeah, it could require a license as well, depending where you're at.
All right. Any last bits of advice or kind of what you see is going to be happening or what people should be looking for in the near future with everything, as uncertain as it is?
I think with over here with the cashless, I think credit card is going to be king soon. So, I mean, it definitely is pushing more towards digital payments, at least from what I'm seeing, just in my personal experience with credit cards and stuff. Just purchasing things and not being able to use cash, which I prefer to use in some scenarios. So, you know, a lot of places not taking cash, probably for the same reasons guys use gift cards on, you know, adult websites. Sometimes I want to use cash because I don't want people to know how much I'm spending. So, but I'm definitely, you know, seeing a lot of that shift where, you know, we're all gonna, I think, be okay in this.
Anyone else?
It'll be interesting to see what happens when everything returns to normal, I guess, or what is normal.
Mm-hmm. New normal.
Yeah, what is the new normal? It'll be interesting to see how people interact with each other, how economies really do shift for the long haul. You know, what happens. You know, restaurants are probably one of those standards, at least in the U.S. and European economy, where there's restaurants everywhere, right? And I don't see that changing, but it may take some time for things to come back to what we used to think of them as.
Okay. Well, if anybody in the chat didn't ask any questions or wants to get, are you guys all available? Going to be on here on the summit for the next couple of days so people can message you or ask you questions?
Absolutely.
Yeah, in and out.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you guys for your time.
Chris.
And thanks for putting up with me muddling through this moderation here, so of a topic I'm not overly familiar with. But thanks again for your time. Thanks everybody that stopped by, and you guys enjoy the rest of the summit and take care.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Good seeing y'all.
Good day.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
everyone.